All right, let's do a quick mic check. I think I'm audible enough. It has been an expected start by South Africa so far, and kind of an indisciplined start by the Canadian bowler, Sana. There have been two wides in this over already. In fact, this match was started with a pair of extras. Taking a look at the Canadian team, there is Yuvraj Samra and Bajwa. A lot would depend on the performance of Yuvraj Samra because he is their golden boy. Let's see if they are able to achieve the target that South Africa sets. Quinton de Kock on strike as he lets the fourth delivery go to the keeper, and it is a dot ball. Quinton de Kock, as you know, has made a comeback to international cricket because there was a shocking retirement that he made at the age of 29. But after Heinrich Klaasen retired from international cricket, he made a comeback, and since making a comeback, he hasn't looked back as he tonks the bowler over his head, but the ball does not reach the boundary. It is intercepted by the fielder, and they take a double. That was a fine stroke. That was a more of a heave that was guided over, and I think this looks to be a sluggish outfield because the ball simply refused to travel. A couple of bounces, and it got stuck right there. Looks like a sticky wicket, a sticky outfield. I'm sorry. As Sana runs in to bowl his sixth delivery, the last. Oh, that's a play and a miss as the ball goes safely to the wicketkeeper. At the end of the first over, South Africa is a 7 for the loss of no wickets. South Africa start as heavy favorites in this match. Canada hasn't had a great recent run of form, having lost to Italy in the warm games, but still, we know how the format works. T20 में किसी को भी हल्के में नहीं ले सकते. कल हमने देखा नेपाल, they took the match to the very last ball. And the day before yesterday, we all know what Netherlands did. They almost kicked them out of the tournament. That's assuming that they are going to boycott the India-Pakistan game. We still don't know. As the new bowler comes into ball, Dillon Henniger with 54 T20 international wickets, a strike rate of 18. Let's see how he performs at the big stage. First delivery will be faced by Markram as he tries to attempt a cover drive, but that goes straight to the fielder. Aiden Markram has had a bit of a stop and start cricket career, especially in T20s. He has often promised a lot, but not delivered to his fullest potential. That one is firmly crunched to the covers for a boundary. A sensational four. That's a trademark Aiden Markram shot. Just guided it to the field, not try to play it too hard. And the ball reached the boundary before any of the fielders could move. It remains to be seen if we will get another 200 plus score here. अगर किसी मैच में या किसी वेन्यू पे 200 प्लस स्कोर हो सकता है तो वो यहाँ हो सकता है अहमदाबाद में. आपने आईपीएल में देखा होगा बहुत बार पहली बैटिंग करते हुए टीम ने 200 पार कर लिए हैं और वो चेज भी हुए हैं. Ahmedabad is known as one of the batting paradises of Indian cricket. Welcome to all the new viewers. Please take a second and like the stream, and please consider subscribing. That would really help me a lot. As Haliger bowls his fourth delivery, that is also crunched through the covers for a boundary. Yet another boundary for Aiden Markram, who looks very confident and is off to a solid start. एडन मार्करम बहुत ही एक्सपीरियंस खिलाड़ी है और हमने उन्हें काफ़ी परफॉर्म करते हुए देखा है सनराइजर्स के लिए, लखनऊ के लिए और ऑफ कोर्स साउथ अफ्रीका के लिए. एंड ही ऑलवेज सीम्स टू बैट बेटर व्हेन ही इज द कैप्टन. The fifth delivery by Haliger goes safely to the wicketkeeper. That is a dot ball. What are your predictions for today's match? Do you think South Africa will cross 200 or even 250? They do have a firepower for it. Quinton de Kock, Devon Davis, David Miller, some heavy hitters in there. Canada, on their part, would try their best to restrict South Africa to a score of about 170, 180. 200 अगर पार हो गए तो कनाडा के बैटिंग के लिए काफ़ी मुश्किल हो सकती है. I'm not underestimating them, but the relative gap in the strengths of the team is simply too much. That was given as a wide by the umpire because it went down the leg side. He will have to ball that again as Aiden Markram again crunches it through cover. There is no stopping this man today as that is the third boundary in the over. And at the end of 2 overs, South Africa is 20 for the loss of no wickets. साउथ अफ्रीका ने वैसी ही शुरुआत की है जैसे हम साउथ अफ्रीका से एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. Canada, on their part, would want to try their utmost to cause an upset because we have not really seen a T20 upset by Canada so far. We have seen one by the neighbors, USA. Sana resumes and he bowls his second over to De Kock, who takes a wild swing at it, but it goes safely to the wicketkeeper. We have been seeing some disciplined bowling by Sana so far. If you discount the wides, he has been bowling proper line and length. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो लूज बॉलिंग करके बस हिट में शॉट्स दे रहे हैं. बिल्कुल नहीं. And he does seem to have a decent amount of pace as well. And the awkward angle created by left-hander as Deacock plays it for a single. The power play, as we all know, is going to be overs 1 to 6, where no more than two fielders will be allowed the 30-yard circle. A great opportunity for the boundary hitters to find their gaps. Looking at the averages of the players to come, Ryan Rickerton averages 27, Devol Brevis 25, Miller 32, and that one is a wide. Canada really needs to control the wides if they have to have any shot at winning this game. क्योंकि तीसरी ओवर चालू है और ये इन्होंने ऑलरेडी चौथा वाइड डाल दिया है. Aiden Markram so far is 13 for 7 and he played three glorious cover drives, three signature Aiden Markram drives in the second over when Haleker was bowling. That one is again safely negotiated for a single as it goes to the fielder. It's been 2.3 overs and South Africa is 23 for the loss of no wickets. If you see Aiden Markram's record since 2024, he really accelerates once he has played 20 balls. मतलब अगर एडन मार्करम को आपने सेटल होने दिया तो आगे वो 160 के स्ट्राइक रेट से बॉलिंग करते हैं. As Quentin de Kock slashes hard, but that is a drop. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a dropped catch. You cannot afford to drop Quentin de Kock. But that is exactly what they have done. It was not a very difficult chance, but at this level, you have to take them. Especially if you're trying to beat a team like South Africa, you cannot drop Quentin de Kock. But they have to look beyond it now. Life goes on. Sana, the bowler, looked disappointed for a moment there, but he has to put it behind him as he runs in to bowl the fifth ball, and that one is pierced through the gap on the onside for a boundary. Aiden Markram is looking in imperious form. अब तक 4 चौके लगा चुके हैं Aiden Markram, and he's looking in fluent touch without ever taking a risk. All four of them have been ground shots, very delicately played. Mark my words, Aiden Markram is looking dangerous today. If they let him settle in too long, it could prove to be very dangerous. For the final delivery, Sana bowls, and that is deftly glanced behind the wicketkeeper for a four. A yet another boundary for Aiden Markram as the score reaches 32-0 at the end of 3 overs. This is a sign of the things to come. And let me tell you, as dangerous as Aiden Markram and Quinton de Kock are, there are some even more dangerous batsmen waiting in the wings. I have a distinct feeling this is going to be a 200 plus score, maybe even 250. Yes, I'm not exaggerating. आज हम 250 का स्कोर देख सकते हैं. I wonder why Canada decided to have a bold first, especially at Ahmedabad. I thought they would want to put up a decent score and try to put some pressure. मेरे ख्याल से उन्होंने सोचा होगा कि चेजिंग आसान होगा ड्यू फैक्टर की वजह से. हाँ, that remains to be seen how much of a role Dew plays in this game as we see spin for the first time with Zafar coming into bowl, slow left arm orthodox, and Quinton de Kock slashes it and pierces the field, but it will only be a double. For a while, it looked like it would travel to the boundary, but it looks like a sluggish outfield today. इतना तेज आउटफील्ड नहीं है कि बाउंड्रीज रॉकेट के जैसे पहुंच जाए बाउंड्री लाइन तक. This one is more where you have to have some power behind the ball to make it travel to the boundary. The next one is drilled straight to the fielder at cover. It has been a quiet start by Quinton de Kock so far. 8 from only 10 deliveries. It's Aiden Markram who has been the dominating partner. Just as I say that, Quinton de Kock lofts the ball over the cover for a boundary. One bounce over the ropes, and that is a four. No, there is nothing better in cricket than watching Quinton de Kock bat when he is in such form. That was just dismissed from his presence. And the next one, he comes down the pitch and drills it down. That was almost a straight drive, but not quite. Well, Quinton de Kock has found his groove, and Aiden Markram has already found his groove. So that means we are looking at two extremely dangerous South African batters as a score moves to 42 for the loss of no wickets. Zafar comes in to bowl his final ball. Oh, that was a missed-stumping opportunity. That was a missed-stumping as Quinton de Kock had moved about 8 paces down the pitch. Well, well, well. The wicket keeper did not manage to collect it. It could have been a very easy stumping. Well, I feel Canada has let two chances go up begging. First was a drop catch, and now this missed stumping. At this level, in such a strong field in this World Cup, as an associate team, you cannot let these chances go. You have to take every chance you can, just as Nepal did yesterday. At the end of 4 overs, South Africa is 43 for the loss of no wickets. Bajwa comes in to bowl for his first over. Let's see if he can change the luck of Canada. Quinton de Kock to face him, and he starts off with a wide. This has been a trend throughout this match. The number of wides are six so far, and we are not even in the sixth over. Not a lot of bowling experience for Bajwa, only one wicket in his international career as he bowls his gentle off spinners straight at Quinton de Kock's toes. That was almost a yorker. Quinton de Kock manages to play it for a single as Aiden Markram gets the strike after a while. Let's see what he does. He's very good against the spinners. In fact, sometimes he's particularly brutal against them. As Aiden Markram again guides it beyond the fielder, and this will reach the boundary for yet another four. Aiden Markram has put his foot on the accelerator and he's making full use of the power play. He's already reached 23 of 12 deliveries. What a shot that was! Very delicately placed. Next ball, he just chooses it to tap to the fielder and takes a single, gives the back strike back to Quentin de Kock as the score reaches 50 for the loss of no wicket. The next ball is intercepted by the fielder, but it looks to be a misfield, allowing Quentin de Kock to take 2 runs. जो भी आईपीएल रेगुलरली देखते हैं उन्हें पता होगा क्विंटन डिकॉक एग्जैक्टली क्या कर सकते हैं. Once you allow him to get his groove, it is not unusual for him to even score a 40 ball 100. It has happened in the past. Who knows, it might happen again. Dilpreet Bajwa comes in for the last delivery, and that was about to be a dot ball, but the fielder could not stop it, and Bajwa has to stop it himself by sliding himself over to the cover. That ends the over. It's 54 for no loss at the end of 5 overs. If you're here for the first time, please consider liking the stream and hitting the subscribe button. That would really help this channel. This is one of the very few English commentary streams you will find online. Also, you're more than welcome to give your match prediction in the commentary box. In the comment box, I'm sorry. Just Karandeep is the new bowler. He has picked 12 wickets in his T20I career so far, as he will attempt to close out the power play without too much damage. He marks his run up, gentle medium pace, and that is defended by Markram as the ball goes harmlessly to the fielder. Aiden Markram, like the stat I gave a while ago, once he crosses 20 balls, then he really hits the accelerator and scores at a strike rate of 160. There's also Devalt Brevis waiting in the wings, and he looks to be a completely different batsman since a year or so. Another decent ball by just Karandeep, and Markram can only play it for a single, which brings Quinton de Kock back on strike. अगर सारे एसोसिएट नेशंस को हम रैंकिंग दें तो I wouldn't say Canada is at the very top. I would say there are stronger teams. Nepal is a strong team, USA is a stronger team, but that does not mean Canada is just here to make the numbers. I'm sure they are here to compete, but they have to make something happen now. They can't just let South Africa run riot all over them. Quinton de Kock bunts it towards a single at third man. The score is 56 for 0 after 5.3 overs. South Africans are scoring at a run rate of 10 an over. This partnership so far has been 62 of 34 balls. And surprisingly, Markram has been the more aggressive player, and as he tonks the ball over the bowler's head, and that is deep into the stands for a sixer. What a shot that was. He is really looking ominous today as South Africa surge on in pursuit of a big total. He just looked to tap the ball gently, but there was a lot of power behind it. And of course, some great timing. Signature Aiden Markram. Just Karandeep runs in again for his fifth delivery. Markram just defends it for a dot ball. This has been a productive power play for South Africa so far, exactly what you would expect of them. A minimum of 10 runs and over, and that's what they are. It's a run rate of 10.63. Markram has been the aggressor, while Quinton de Kock has been the quieter partner, not something that we see usually. हम नॉर्मली ये देखते हैं कि कोई भी पार्टनरशिप हो, क्विंटन डिकॉक ज़्यादा अग्रेसिव होते हैं और उनका स्ट्राइक रेट 150 से ज़्यादा ही होता है, पर आज उनका स्ट्राइक रेट है 122. I wonder if he's just trying to find his form. Aiden Markram lofts that one over the leg side and ends the power play with yet another boundary as South Africa are 66 for the loss of no wicket. And Aiden Markram surges to 35. अब तक 9 रन एक्स्ट्रा से आए हुए हैं. 9 runs to extras, and that is something Canada will have to control. They simply cannot give away so many freebies, not to a team like South Africa. So far, this has been tough on their bowlers, and to be very honest, none of their bowlers has really looked threatening. If we discount that instance of a dropped catch, I don't think there has been any other, and of course the missed stumping. Other than that, no chances have been created, and South Africa has looked very comfortable. As we have a drinks break right now, what do you guys think? What is your prediction of the score? You can leave it in the comments. By the way, in another news, it looks like the India-Pakistan game is going to happen. PCB has given a list of demands, which they are quite firm on. Once those demands are met, they say they will consider playing the match. What are those demands? One, that they will get a greater share in the ICC revenue. Two, there will be bilaterals between India and Pakistan. And number three, that there will be a handshake during the match. Well, it remains to be seen if the BCCI will and the ICC will meet all those demands. But I have a feeling that the match is going to happen. Yes, sir, it is going to happen because no one can really afford to lose a revenue of 350 million. As normal operations resume after the drinks break, Bajwa comes back with his off spinners. Quinton de Kock defends it for a dot ball. By the way, here's a fun fact for you guys. The first ever international match in cricket was not between England and Australia. The first ever international match was between Canada and the USA in 1844. Yes, you heard it right. The very first team to play an international match was Canada. In fact, I'll give you another fun fact. Cricket was actually declared as Canada's first national sport by Prime Minister Sir John MacDonald in 1867. But over time, cricket lost its place to hockey and it has never been the same again. But let's hope cricket makes a resurgence in Canada because we need more and more nations to participate in this beautiful sport that we all love. The captain of Canada, Dilpreet Bajwa, was born in Punjab and he moved to Canada in 2020 because he had some issues with the domestic association in Canada. Well, he is bowling now. Let's see if he makes something happen. And he does something, make something happen as he knocks out the stump of Quentin de Kock. Yes, that is the first wicket for Canada as Dilpreet Bajwa, with his slow off spinner, knocks out the off stump of Quentin de Kock. Would you believe it? That was kind of a wild slog by Quentin de Kock because he completely missed the line of the ball. But that partnership needed to be broken, and Canada has managed exactly that. Quinton de Kock departs for 25 of 22, and the score is 70 for 1 at the end of 6.5 overs. That will be some relief for Canada because this match was getting totally one sided so far. But now, hopefully, it will arrest the momentum somewhat. क्रीज पे आए हुए नए बल्लेबाज रायन रिकर्टन, हमने इन्हें मुंबई इंडियंस के लिए ओपन करते हुए देखा है. फाइन फाइन बैट्समैन who can play both an anchor innings and also go for the big shots depending on the requirement. He joins Aiden Markram on the crease and he will face Dilpreet Bajwa, who is on high after knocking out the stump of Quinton de Kock. Let's see if he closes it out. And that is a wide. I don't know what is it is with Canada and wides, but this is the seventh wide today, and this is only the seventh over. So that means they're averaging one wide per over. At this level, you simply cannot afford to give away these many runs. It's also a free hit because it was no ball, and Ryan Rickleton attempts to hit a boundary, but it only goes to the fielder for a single. At the end of 7 overs, South Africa is 72 for 1. As I was discussing some facts about Canada, by the way, Canada did not just get this qualification in a gift. They were undefeated in the ICC Americas regional qualifier in 2025, beating other teams like Bermuda to secure their spot. Canada did cause a mini upset in the 2024 World Cup by defeating Ireland, who is a much more established side. Let's hope, let's see if they repeat their magic against South Africa. South Africa had a heartbreak in the last World Cup in 2024. when they came extremely close to winning the World Cup for the first time, but could not make it past India, who kept their nerves at critical moments. I do not want to mention the C word. Can you guess what the C word is? Well, South Africa, wherever they go, they cannot escape the choker's tag. They seem to falter in key moments, and well, the tag has remained with them for 30 years now. Hopefully, not in this match because they seem to be cruising along. As Ansh comes into ball, his second ball, and Rickelton cannot manage to find a run. He's still finding his groove, is very new to the crease. Aiden Markram, on the other hand, has already shot his way to 36 of 19. Ansh Patel, with his left arm spin, Rickelton sweeps him for a boundary. That was a fine sweep shot, and he used the pace of the ball well to guide it to the boundary. There was a time when people were wondering if Ryan Rickelton will have a place in the squad with the return of Quinton de Kock, but they have found a space for him. Let's take a look at the playing 11. Markram de Kock, who is out. Then there is Ryan Rickelton, Dewald Brevis, David Miller, Tristan Stubbs, Marco Janssen, Corbin Bosch, Kahiso Rabada, Keshav Maharaj, and Lungi and Gidi. They're going with a full strength team today. They're leaving nothing to chance. Ansh Patel manages to beat the bat of Aiden Markram, and that is a dot ball. That was a nice delivery, actually. Give it flight, and there was enough turn in it to deceive Markram. As the last ball is bowled, and Markram takes a wild heave at it, but only manages to dispatch it to the fielder for a single. At the end of 8 overs, South Africa is 80 for the loss of one wicket. Today, the matches that have happened so far have been very one sided, to be very honest. Scotland trashed Italy. They made 207. In return, Italy could only make 134. In the second match, Oman were dismissed by Zimbabwe for only 103, and Zimbabwe raced to the target 106 for 2 in only 13 overs. Will this match be one sided again? That remains to be seen. And that is one more wide. It looks like we will have a world record for wides in this match, judging by the number of wides in this game already. It's very shocking, to be honest. The number of extras conceded. They have to have more control as Zafar gets it right this time, and Rickelton guides it to the fielder for a single. The strike is back to Aiden Markram, who has 37 on 21. And will he attempt to play a big shot? He doesn't. He takes a single, and things have quietened down a bit after the power play, but the run rate is still 10, and South Africa looks set for a score of 200. In fact, I wouldn't put it past them to score 250 even on this pitch. which looks like a completely flat pitch. Till now, another single by Ryan Rickerton as Markram gets a strike back. The fourth delivery is a dot ball. After the first ball was a wide, Zafar has made a decent comeback in this over by bowling with tight control. So far, only 5 runs have been conceded in this over, which is quite decent. Oh, that was in the air for a second. It popped up in the air, but there was no close in fielder anyway, and it safely goes into the hand of Dhaliwal for a single. The last ball of the over coming up, and that one is drilled through the covers by Rickleton. There is a futile attempt by Buller to intercept the ball, but it reaches the boundary eventually for a four. This takes South Africa's total to 90 for 1 at the end of 9 overs. It has been a dominating start, exactly what you would expect from South Africa. One surprising addition to today's match has been Tristan Stubbs. It was not looking very sure if Tristan Stubbs would be in the regular playing 11 because he has had poor run of form. As Markram plays a glorious straight drive. Oh my God, what a shot! That's one of the shots of the evening. Who doesn't like to watch a great straight drive? It's my favorite shot because it used to be the signature shot of the great Sachin Tendulkar. Markram takes a wild heave and it falls just short of the fielder. Well, well, well. That was an opportunity for a catch, but it would have taken an amazing dive, something that we might see from Glenn Phillips. It was not to be as Markram is safe and even manages to take 2 runs of it as he moves on to 45. The next ball is played for a single. It has been a decent effort by Dilpreet Bajwa so far, 1 for 27 of his 2.5 overs. The strike is back to Ryan Rickerton, who is finding his groove. He has experienced company with him, Aiden Markram, who has maintained a strike rate of about 150 throughout this match. Next ball is guided towards the third man fielder for a single by Ryan Rickerton. At South Africa, make it 100 for 1. Yes, they reach 100 before the end of the 10th over. Whoa, the last delivery is swiped away dismissively by Aiden Markram as it goes for an easy boundary, and it is also a misfield by Canada. What a shot by Aiden Markram. He lofts his bat to celebrate his 50 from only 28 balls. Is he looking in great form or what? For viewers who have just joined in, this is one of the only English cricket streams that you will find with a smattering of Hindi in between. So please like the stream to give it a bit more reach, and please consider subscribing as I'm going to cover the entire World Cup. Zafar comes in for his third over, and that is a wild slog by Ryan Rickerton, and that is a sixer. What a shot! He simply swept it into the stands effortlessly. He's looking set now as the partnership is 40 of 20 deliveries. What a shot that was, directly into the stands. Sit and deliver. Next ball is bunted for a single, which brings Aiden Markram back on strike. Well. Markram delicately guides it to the boundary. He has played these subtle shots before today. This one is the fourth, I think. And what a shot that was. It could have been saved with a dive, but none of the two fielders really wanted to, and they let it pass between them as Aiden Markram cruises on. He is now 55 as he attempts another aggressive shot, but it's intercepted near the boundary by the fielder. Wow, what a shot by Ryan Richardson. Yet another sweep. He looks to be sweeping his way to a great score. What a fine shot that was. I must say that the fielding of the Canadians so far has been low par. There has been a drop catch, there has been a missed stumping, and the players don't really seem to be in the mood to dive to stop the boundaries. Well, this could prove expensive for them as South Africa make their way to 121 for 1 at the end of 11 overs. The South African innings is looking increasingly ominous. At the start, I had predicted that the score might even reach 250. For that, they will really have to press on the accelerator now, but I don't see why not, because they still have 9 wickets in hand. So there's nothing stopping them for going for the big shots. Absolutely nothing. Ansh Patel, with his slow left arm spinners, comes in for his second over. Ryan Rickerton manages a single. Aiden Markram usually targets cover, and he has played some excellent cover drives in this inning so far, as he again drills a boundary, this time on the onside. There is no stopping Aiden Markram today. None at all. What a shot that was. Sheer power. And there is absolutely nothing the fielders could do. Well, well, well. As Ansh Patel comes in for the next delivery, and that is, whoa, that is a fantastic catch. What a catch that was. For a while, it looked like it was going to be a sixer, but Ansh Patel has dismissed Markram. What a catch. Right at the edge of the boundary line. Goodness me. Two more inches and that would have been a six. But that was a fantastic fielding effort by Heliga. Aiden Markram has to depart for 59 from his 32 deliveries, as the next batsman to join is the extremely talented Devold Brewis. Devold Brewis was a find of the Mumbai Indians, a young prodigy who was also called Baby AB, and he used to be quite inconsistent earlier, but over time he has really taken his game up a notch and now has become a gun batsman coming into bat at number 4. He is surely one player to watch out for. Let's see if he can capitalize on this relatively weak Canadian bowling attack as Ansh Patel bowls his first ball to Devol Brevis, who takes a quiet single to start off his innings. I still can't get over how fine that catch was. There was very little margin for error from Haliger, who had to balance his toes around the boundary line. A few more inches and it would have been a six, but instead, Markram had to go back. Patel, Ansh Patel bowling to Devon Brewis, and he is up and running. He pulls it to the boundary and it flies like a trace bullet. No one had any time to move, and that was a sheer power exhibition by Devold Brewis. That's one way to get your innings going. At the end of 12 overs, South Africa is 132 for 2. They're going along nicely at the run rate of 11. The projected score is 220, but I have a feeling we are going to see much more than 220, maybe even 250. Depends on how they manage the rest of the innings. Ryan Rickleton has stroked his way to 31 from 18 balls. Just Karandeep about to start his second over with his gentle medium pacers. Ryan Rickelton plays and misses, and it is a dot ball as the ball goes to the wicket keeper. Jaskarandeep is not very quick. He operates around the 120 125 kmph mark. His main weapons are his control over line and length. He's gone for 12 so far in his single over. The next ball to Ryan Rickelton goes for yet another wide. Hmm. There has been a steady stream of freebies to South Africa, and this is one more. When you are an associate team playing a stronger opponent, you simply cannot afford to give away so many wides. Ryan Rickelton faces the next delivery, and he can't do much with it. Guides it to the fielder for a single. South Africa move on to 134 for the loss of two wickets. The two batsmen to go were Aiden Markram and Quentin de Kock. It was a bit of a scratchy innings by Quentin de Kock today, not his usual dominating self. And he was bowled by an off spinner with his off stump uprooted. An unusual dismissal by his standards. Devon Brevis gets ready to face Jaskarandeep. It won't be long before we see him playing the big shots, because that's exactly why he is in the side to give a mid innings boost to the innings. Oh, that's a play and a miss. Tried to slash it hard, but missed it as it goes harmlessly to the wicket keeper. Only 2 runs of this over so far. Decent comeback by just Karandeep. After that wide, Devon Brevis taking a guard again. And that one is another wide. Oh, if I were the Canadian coach, I would call a team huddle in the next drinks break and tell my bowlers, please don't gift away freebies like this. You have literally given away 12 extra runs, and it's barely the halfway mark right now. For the next ball, Brovis attempts an aggressive shot, but it is intercepted by the fielder near the boundary, and he gets only a single. Ryan Rickelton is looking set for a big score with 32 from 19, and he has the ability to play the long innings at a very healthy strike rate. Devon Lewis, on the other hand, is someone who will either get out in single digits, but if you let him stick around for a while, a strike rate of 200, 250 is the norm for Devon Lewis. The next ball is a single. If you're just joining, please consider liking the stream and hitting the subscribe. I was sharing a fun fact a while ago. that the first two international teams to play cricket are not England and Australia. Yes, that is true. The first two teams were USA and Canada. The first international game was played in 1844, USA against Canada, and for a while, for a few years, cricket was the national sport of Canada. Slowly, it got overtaken by ice hockey, and cricket lost its popularity. Let's hope it makes a comeback with this World Cup, but that will only happen if Canada pulls off an upset or two. At the end of 13 overs, South Africa is 137 for 2. Coming up tomorrow, Netherlands versus Namibia. In the afternoon, there is New Zealand versus UAE, and the evening fixture will be the big one, Pakistan versus USA. Now, why do I say it's the big one? Because in the 2024 World Cup, USA upset Pakistan, and the first ball of Ansh Patel's over flies in the air and it is out. Ryan Rickelton is out. Caught at the fielder in the deep. Both wickets to fall today have come from Ansh Patel. Ryan Rickelton was attempting to clear the boundary and deposit the ball in the stands, but he mistimed it and gets caught. He has to go back. Well, well, well. Canada really needs to keep chipping away at the wickets because the flow of runs is not going to stop. As Deval Brewers is joined by David Miller at the crease. Can you imagine the kind of total that these two can put on? Brevis and David Miller. If they put their powers together, well, a score of 250 is not out of the equation. Wait and watch. David Miller has been a mainstay of the white ball team for many, many years now. He's also one of the most capped IPL players and has played across many teams. Both wickets have that have fallen today have come from Ansh Patel. Both of the wickets that have fallen to spin and not to pace. Though to be honest, there is no real genuine pace in the attack of Canada. It's mostly gentle military medium pace. As the teams go for a drinks break to refresh themselves. By the way, Canada is playing at the Ahmedabad Stadium, the Narendra Modi Stadium, for the first time ever. And maybe it is the due factor in the second innings why Captain Bajwa won the toss and chose to bowl first today. By the way, do not underestimate the Canadian side. They do have some power hitters in their lineup. And who knows, if they get a fantastic start, they might just challenge the might of South Africa like Nepal did yesterday with England. They really tested them. Canada did pull off an upset in the 2024 World Cup by defeating Ireland, but that's all they got out of that World Cup. David Miller facing his first ball against the wicket taker Ansh Patel, who has been the most effective Canadian bowler so far. So far, it looks like a completely flat wicket, a batting paradise, which is usually the case in Ahmedabad. First ball is a dot ball. Actually, Canada has pulled back quite well in the last 3 4 overs because for a while it was looking like Aiden Markram would take the game away from them. But this has been a nice little phase where they have not really conceded too many boundaries, though they have been conceding a lot of wides. David Miller finally gets off a strike for a single. Finally, Devol Brevis will face Ansh Patel once more, and he is looking towards all parts of the ground, searching for areas to hit a maximum. Ansh Patel runs into ball, and that is hoiked into the air. It is still in the air, and that is a fine catch. It's not easy to take those catches under lights, and Ansh Patel gets yet another wicket. Would you believe that? All three wickets to fall so far have been taken by Ansh Patel. All three wickets have fallen to spin. As the fielder does the Usain Bolt celebration, and why not? This is the big stage. This is their stage to shine. As Devol Brevis returns to the pavilion, Preston Stubbs joins David Miller at the crease. Preston Stubbs makes his way to the crease. A very capable hitter. Recently, he has been out of form. Let's see how he manages against Ansh Patel, the most successful Canadian bowler so far. And he drills one through the covers straight away. Immediately, his first ball is a boundary. What a way to get off the mark. An amazing shot by Tristan Stubbs to get his innings underway. And at the end of 14, South Africa are at 142 4. By the way, here's another fun fact. Canada's first Prime Minister, Sir John Macdonald, was such a fan that he declared cricket as Canada's national sport in 1867. For the old timers who are watching cricket, you might remember the 2003 World Cup when Canadian John Davidson hit a 67 ball century against the West Indies. At the time, it was the fastest century in the World Cup history. Bajwa comes in to bowl his last over as Miller guides it towards the fielder and manages to take 2 runs. Many of the Canadian players have Indian origins and specifically from the region of Punjab, as the next ball is slashed through the covers by David Miller for a boundary. What a shot. This could be ominous for Canada as David Miller is a very capable of finishing off on a high. This takes the score to 148 for three, and the next ball is a fine Yorker by Bajwa, and there is nothing David Miller can do about it. Miller takes 2 runs as the fielder intercepts the boundary. Ahmedabad is a scorching 34 degrees today, by the way. It is very hot weather. Toronto, on the other hand, is currently at -5 degrees. I'm sure the Canadian players are feeling the heat, even though most of them must have some acclimatization with India. The last ball is a quiet single from the bat of Tristan Stubbs, and after 15 overs, South Africa are at 151 for 4. Here's another fun fact for you. Canada actually lost their one-day international status in 2014, and they had to go back to Division 2. They had to fight their way back through the ranks, and now we finally see them here. One of the reasons for their success has been the emergence of the G T20, the Global T20 Canada League, based in Brampton. It does attract quite a few international stars as well. Canada's greatest upset in international cricket so far has been against Bangladesh in 2003, where they won the game by 60 runs. Ansh Patel resumes operations, and it has been a tight over so far with only one of the first two deliveries. He has been easily the pick of the bowlers so far. 3 for 25, with some very disciplined left arm spin bowling. Stubbs guides the next one towards the fielder but can only take a single as the score reaches 154. In fact, there's been a missed field and they managed to take two. Current run rate is almost 10, it's 9.94. If South Africa score 12 runs from here on, they will easily cross 200, 12 runs and over. Tristan Stubbs gets the opportunity to get another 2 runs as the fielder cuts off the ball at the boundary. That one was drilled to the covers. But I have to say, what a spell by Ansh Patel. He has given away no freebies and he has taken 3 of the 4 wickets to fall so far. Oh, a tight single by Stubbs and Miller. Don't know if that was necessary. By the way, this if this is your first time here, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. That would really help me a lot. This is one of the very few English commentary streams that you will find online. By the way, the earliest cricket that was played in Canada was in the early 19th century when British naval officers would play cricket on frozen lakes. They would use a red painted block of wood instead of a leather ball because they did not want to lose it. That's interesting. Sana returns the ball, left arm medium pace, bowling to Miller, who looks settled now with 12 from 10 deliveries. If anyone can close out a T20 innings with a bang, it is David Miller. Let's see if he can manage to do the job today. With only 4 overs to go now, the first ball is only played out for a single on the onside, which brings Stubbs to a strike. Stubbs is no less of a hitter, by the way. He has not been enjoying the best of form, but he is quite capable of motoring along at a strike rate of 200 plus. Some more batsmen to follow. There's Marco Jansen, there's Corbin Bosch, who are all capable of hitting the big shots. And side note, the much wanted India versus Pakistan game is likely to happen as discussions are on, and Pakistan has put three sets of conditions for the game to happen. One, that they get a higher share of the revenue in the ICCI, in the ICC coffers. The second, that there are bilateral internationals between India and Pakistan. And the third is that there will be a handshake before the game. It remains to be seen if their demands are met. But if you ask me my gut feeling, I can tell you the game is going to happen. It was always going to happen with so many millions at stake. You can't just tell the broadcasters at the last moment that we are not playing a high stakes game. It has to be done much, much earlier. Salah has been doing a good job with this over so far. Only four of the first four deliveries, five in fact, but they have pulled things back a bit. They have not really allowed them to go rampaging. And one of the main factors, one of the key players in this has been Ansh Patel. 3 for 35. What a spell. He would have dreamt of a spell like this when he started playing international cricket for Canada. Tristan Stubbs on strike, and that is a fine Yorker by Sana. And Tristan Stubbs can only take a single. No boundary at this over so far. A relatively empty stadium at Ahmedabad today, which is to be expected. It's a huge stadium with a capacity of 120,000. Oh, that is yet another wide. Just when I was thinking that there have been no wides in the last 3 overs, Sana obliges us with another wide. They have given away about 9 to 10 of them today, and that is simply not something you can afford against a side like South Africa. You have to fight tooth and nail for every run. There has been one dropped catch and one missed stumping in this inning so far. Miller faces the last ball and he can only manage a single. A very good over by Sana that goes for only 8 runs. That is great in the context of the game. The last 3 overs to go now, as South Africa are comfortably positioned at 166 for 4. They would want to close it out at 200 at least. I had earlier given a prediction of 250, but it doesn't look likely because for some reason, David Miller and Tristan Stubbs are not really finding the boundaries with regularity. Miller is 15 of 13 balls. He hasn't looked like his usual destructive self. The pick of the bowler so far has been Ansh Patel with 3 of 31. The most expensive bowler has been Hayliger with an economy of 13. Just Karandeep comes into bowl again. This will be his third over. Can he stop David Miller from closing out the innings with a big bang? First ball is a dot ball. Miller looks at the umpire as if to ask, where is the wide? The umpire looks disinterested. Score is 167 for 4. For the batters to follow are Marco Jansen and Corbin Bosch, both of them very capable six hitters. So I think these two batsmen have to go for it now because only 3 overs are left and they still have some firepower left in the tank. There is no need of a cautious approach now, unless, of course, the South Africans are not aiming for 200 and instead opting to settle for something like a 180 score, which is unlikely because a 200 score gives that psychological dominance. At the current run rate, they are projected to reach 193, but if they go at 13 and over, they will cross 200. Jaskarandeep comes in to bowl. Oh, that is a dog ball again. So far, the top scoring batter in this series has been Munshi from Scotland, followed by Surya Kumar Yadav and Tim Seifert of New Zealand. Great to see a Scottish batsman at the top right now. We don't normally see that. And the next ball to Tristan Stubbs. And that is a wild slog that goes straight into the boundary. What a shot by Tristan Stubbs. They need more of those if they are to reach 200 and even beyond. But it looks like Tristan Stubbs has found his groove as that boundary takes South Africa to 171 for 4. What a shot that is by Tristan Stubbs. Inside out shot, blasted over the covers, and that is a mag zone. That is a six. Whoa, what a shot. He has got enormous amount of power and that goes 10 rows back into the stands. It looks like they are about to close the innings with a bang, as South Africa is 177 for 4 with that six. Unbelievable shot. Just Karandeep running into bowl his last delivery. He would want to close it with a dot ball. Let's see if he's able to manage that. He does close it with a dot ball, but was it a drop catch? Could that have been a cotton ball wicket? We'll have to see the replays to assure. Anyways, at the end of 18 overs, South Africa is 177 for 4 as they look to score 200. That will be a formidable total for this Canadian side and young, inexperienced side. Sana comes into bowl that penultimate over. Whoa, that was one of the wildest slogs I've seen all night from Miller, but he only manages to get a single for it. It has been a scratchy innings by David Miller so far, to say the least. 17 of 16. Not something you would expect from him, but it's only the first game of the tournament, and I'm sure a player of the caliber of David Miller will find a way. The next one is a dot ball as Stubbs plays and misses. It looked like he was trying to dispatch the ball out of the stadium, took a wild swing at it, but only manages a dot ball. If you have not subscribed yet, please, please, please subscribe so that I can increase my reach. Stubbs take another wild swing, but only manages to guide it to the fielder for a single. 2 runs of this over so far, and only 9 deliveries to go in this innings. And they are still a bit of a distance away from 200. They would be looking to target that as David Miller, a struggling David Miller, faces the next ball. And I think I spoke too soon because this one disappears for a six. A straight slick six from the bat of a David Miller over the top of the bowler, and it is shot like a rocket. A sensational shot. Goes to show the power that David Miller possesses. This takes the score to 185 for 4, and the next ball, Miller attempts to pull it, but can only guide it to the fielder for a single. 9 of this over so far from Sana. A decent bowling performance from him, by the way, because the overall run rate is closer to 10, whereas Sana has only given away 8 runs and over. So, in the context of the game, It is quite a decent effort, I must say. There's a referral to the third umpire, probably to check if it was a boundary. Personally, I don't think so. Doesn't look like it because it was uh, quite safely taken. As South Africa looked to close in at 200, turns out the referral was to check for a no ball. It was taken by the batsman. Well, it's a tight call as the ball looks like it was above shoulder height, and now the umpire changes his decision. It was a no ball. That means Christian Stubbs gets to face a free hit. Let's see if we can make it count. Sana runs into bowl for his fifth ball, and it is a free hit. Oh, that looks like another no ball. As Stubbs takes a wild heave at it, it is caught by the fielder, but it will not be a wicket as it was a free hit. And it looks like it will be yet another no ball because it was above a waist high. This over is not ending anytime soon, I tell you. The bowler looks angry as he goes back to his bowling mark, but that was a clear no ball. It was a way above waist height. Any umpire would have given it a no ball. The next ball is pulled by David Miller, but it safely reaches the fielder, so he is not able to utilize the free hit. However, there is still one more ball to go, and South Africans have reached 190 for 4, a very realistic chance of reaching 200. Will be interesting to see who bowls the final 20th over. There's a good chance it would be just Deep as Sana comes in to bowl the last ball, and Stubbs can only manage a single. In fact, it's a two. That's an exceptional piece of running. What a great piece of running by Stubbs. After the end of 19 overs, South Africa are 192 for 4. This has actually been a decent comeback of sorts by Canada because at the end of 10 overs, it was looking like South Africa would muscle their way to 225 to 40, but so far it's only 192 and they have not reached 200. So you have to give some credit to the Canadian bowlers, primarily Ansh Patel and, Sana. 'Cause, 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 Sana. As expected, the final over will be delivered by just Karandeep. Miller to take strike. It is a full toss, and Miller deposits it 20 rows back in the stands. That is a fine hit. That is a sixer. Finally, Miller gets one big hit as the score ticks along to 198 for 4. That was a loose full toss, and Miller needed no second invitation. Simply pulled it into the stands. Miller is now 31 of 20, is powering along now. Let's see what he does with the next five deliveries. That is yet another pull shot that is deposited into the stands. Two sixes back to back. Two sixes back to back for David Miller. It looks like he started off with a scratchy innings, but this is turning out to be a brilliant cameo as Miller powers his way to 37 with two glorious back to back sixes. What a shot. The Canadian bowlers have to be aware that they cannot simply keep bowling full tosses because this is a very strong South African side and they don't really let these opportunities go by. Miller takes the strike against Jaskarandeep and another wild slog by David Miller, but this time he does not manage to time it as it goes safely to the fielder for a single run, which brings Tristan Stubbs on strike. Score is 205 for 4, already a formidable total. This will be a big challenge for Canada. 13 of the overs so far, with three deliveries bowled. As we are about to see the last three deliveries being bowled, there seems to be some disturbance, and Stubbs is not quite happy with the side screen. But finally, he takes strike. Let's see if he closes out with a bang. Oh, it's another full toss. But Stubbs does not manage to time it. Goes safely to the fielder for a single. 206 for 4. David Miller is on strike now. Will he close the innings with one of his signature lofted shots? Plenty of discussion between Just Karandeep and the captain, probably asking him to keep it tight and not to bowl a full toss to David Miller of all people. Just Karandeep runs in to bowl, and that is another single. 15 of the over so far with the last delivery to go. This has been a fine batting performance, as expected by South Africa, a dominating performance. Stubbs takes strike. Let's see if we can close it out with a sixer. Just Karandeep runs into ball. Kristen Stubbs on strike. And what a shot that is. Inside out, over the covers, deposited into the stands by Kristen Stubbs. The innings finishes with a bang as South Africa compiled 213 for 4 from 20 overs. That is it from me for this innings. I'll start a new stream in the second innings. Please make sure to join me. And if you're here for the first time, please subscribe so you don't miss any updates. I'll be covering all games of this World Cup. I'll sign off now. Thank you very much.